The Blue Jays won a series. Welcome to Off the Roster, brought to you by our founding partner, ProLine. With the new ProLine app, you can make every pitch more interesting all baseball season long. Download it today. I'm Lindsay Dunn alongside Dan Riccio and Cabbie. Good morning to you guys. Amazing show today. We're going to be talking with Marco D'Amico about what happened or didn't happen on the ice for the Habs. We're going to have Ben Lyons on to talk all things Knicks and the NBA. We're going to hear from Michael Bublé, who's a little mad at the NHL, as well as the GROAT, Kyle Lowry, who's going to talk about OG Anunoby. But my guys, yesterday, Jays win. Not happy that Big Oak got hit again, but
he
got
came
a
up
series.
big with a big hit finally, which is nice to
Big
see.
Oak.
Okamoto's really been struggling, but helps the team to that 2-1 win. Another hit batter, maybe causing some emotions, but the Jays stay in the game, Cab. They don't let their... for me, it would have been, get to my caveman sort of Neanderthal mindset of, let's just get into a beanball war here with the Miami Marlins on a Wednesday afternoon while it's Kids Day at Rogers Center. But instead, John Schneider and the Blue Jays decided, you know what, finding a way to get the dub is more important for us. And maybe that was the more prudent way to look at it.
Agreed. Also, yeah, as you said yesterday, Yuri Perez is 6'8". Bro was throwing 101. Like, who wants to get into an arms race with that guy? And you said Kevin Gausman can disguise his pitches, to hit batters, but that bro was just throwing absolute gasoline. And weirdly, maybe the baseball gods were shining on the Toronto Blue Jays because after 4 innings, and he was torching us for 9 strikeouts, he did not come out for the 5th because he had a hamstring spasm, which anybody who's had like these spasms are very painful and they're like intense. So thankfully to the baseball gods or whomever, Yuri Perez was done after 4 innings and held us to 3 hits. 2 of those, your guy, Vlad Guerrero Jr. with 2 singles. But it was
Vladdy Singles Jr. Yes, that's right.
We're happy to see him back, though. We're happy to see him back.
Oh, absolutely happy to see him. And stealing a base. Go on, Vladdy, with yourself. Get your 5th.
Can I ask, Cab, did you get your hamstring spasm while stretching in between innings? Because that's what happened to Yuri Perez.
It was a weird one. No, it was.
You know what it's called? It's called karma. Yeah, that's why don't throw 97 in the back of Kazuma Okamoto.
Leave Big Oak alone. 2 moments that I loved yesterday, and I would love your guys' input on this. We know that Tyler Heineman has been struggling at moments. There's been discussion like Alejandro Kirk, when he's going to come back, what's going to happen between him and Brandon Valenzuela, who's been doing fantastic in his rookie debut with the Jays. But yesterday, Heineman became the first pitcher since 2011 to be credited with 4 runners caught stealing in the game. As the Jays put it, Tyler, the clubhouse magician, Heineman. I was happy to see that.
Yeah, he tied a Blue Jays record, which was cool to see. Heineman has needed some good vibes. He had a home run recently, and then he has that big game yesterday. The Jays needed it. The Marlins just kept running into outs, and they kind of really needed that because, Gausman was, obviously they didn't give up a ton of runs, but Gausman wasn't his elite self that we've come so used to. He was kind of fighting it a little bit yesterday, and getting all those extra outs on the base paths certainly helped for the Blue Jays to keep that a close game while the offense found a way to scratch out a couple of runs. But Heineman's in an interesting spot. I think obviously his offensive numbers have never been the reason why he's been a big part of the Blue Jays the last couple of years. But I would say when Kirky does come back and he is starting a rehab assignment soon, the conversation's going to be, should Valenzuela just go back down because that's a young player still growing. We need as many at-bats and game action that he can get versus Heineman, who's very much comfortable being a backup catcher.
Very true. And it will be a tough decision for John Schneider to make based on the way that Brandon Valenzuela is pitching. It was that moment for Heineman is great, like getting credited for 4 runners, like throwing out 4 runners or 4 runners being caught stealing bases. But the Marlins also stole 5 bases on us.
I know.
Like, it is known. Like Jeff Hoffman is a pitcher who's known to have a slower windup. So he is a guy
who can't hold runners to save his life.
Him and Yuriel Rodriguez.
We don't have to be nice about it. He's not good at holding runners.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that is true. He did. The fastball and the slider were working, and he did get credited with the win, which was nice because he had I think it was the 7th inning. He had what was it here?
It was him in the 7th and Varland in the 8th and Rogers in the 9th.
That's correct. Sorry, the note that I had on Jeff Hoffman just real quick was in his last 5 outings, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, and 8 Ks. So he drops his ERA almost a full run, 5.75 to 4.81. That's what I was trying to find there. But yeah, Hoffman can't hold runners. And the Marlins, the Rays, I don't know if it's these just Florida teams, but just running all over us, man. And Heineman does have some magic, but damn, like Otto Lopez, what a game. 4 for 4 with 2 stolen bases, I think. Like it was
good.
We were kind of, I don't know if lucky is the right word, but fortunate to squeak out a 2-1 win there in that matinee.
So you brought up Kirky. He's going to start hitting off a machine this weekend, and he's getting into rehab games early June. But Barger, I know there's not really an update there, but he's going to be starting throwing. It's supposed to be today. Probably today is what Schneider told
I'm old
everyone.
enough to remember when they said, hopefully he'll be gone the minimum. He's just starting throwing today? Yeah. Wow, okay.
A moment that happened yesterday, though, that I don't think Nathan Lucas, a lot of time people underestimate his arm. It was in the 3rd. He threw from the outfield to home to prevent a run coming in. So it's nice to see that, he did get beamed in the head his first game back after injury. But I do think a lot of times he is one of the underrated members of the Toronto Blue Jays. And I know it's when he's playing a great game. Sometimes he's questionable at bat, but his arm in the outfield, I don't think gets enough credit.
Everything about Nathan Lucas, he started off the season really slowly. Once he got that vertigo thing figured out, he started to find his bat a little bit, and then he got the hamstring injury. So hopefully we'll get to see an extended run of Lucas back in the lineup, because especially with the Jays' struggling offense, they're going to need it. And he's been a welcome sight back in the lineup for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he was a special addition, a special bonus for Toronto last year in 2025, and seeing him resurge or reappear and being productive in 26 is really nice to see. That moment that Lindsay was talking about was in the top of the 3rd. There are 2 runners on for Otto Lopez. He singles or he lines one into right field, and then Lucas just comes up gunning and he holds Xavier Edwards at third base, who is a speedster on the bags. And then Kevin Gausman gets Kyle Stowers to ground into an inning-ending double play. So we keep some runs off the board. Thank you to Nathan Lucas and then Kevin Gausman there. So 2-1 held on, for dear life. But it's nice, Dan, that we got, I don't know if maybe the Blue Jays are watching our streams where you're like, hey guys, win this series, take 2 for, split the series
Find
against
a way to
Baltimore.
win series. You know what? I'm not gonna critique a win, Cab. I'm not gonna critique a win. Jays need the wins as much as they can. Yesterday, you're not gonna win a ton of games like that. You play that game 10 times, maybe you don't win. You don't win it more often than not. But they won it yesterday, and now if they win 3 out of 4 against the Orioles here this weekend, they can get back to 500 as the start of June comes.
First time
listening to your plan.
Yeah, first time they'll be taking on Chris Bassett since he signed with them in the offseason. Obviously, he was a beloved member of the Blue Jays squad, big part of their team in going to the World Series and what happened there. But Cabbie, I want to bring up something you actually brought up in our chat. So yesterday we were discussing, Tanner Andrews. He, at 30 years old, he finally got his MLB debut. He had his first MLB strikeout in the 9th inning, celebrating the win. Then the next day, he got sent down to AAA baseball. It is a tough league, but in that moment, things could have been worse. Let's take a look at what happened in Tampa. For those listening or watching, you may not have seen what happened in a player in their debut with the team. Let's just say he couldn't keep his food in.
So this is Jonathan Heasley of Tampa Bay. He's just whatever he had before the game is now on the field. Later that inning, he gave up a 2-run double in the bottom of the 5th. And then the next inning, Heasley gave up a home run to Gunnar Henderson in the 6th. And then the inning after that, he gave up a home run to Blaze Alexander. This is a tough, you would think that he'd puke after giving up the home runs, but this is a tough way to start an appearance, whether it's for Tampa Bay or whatever. Like, damn, Jonathan Heasley, we feel for you, bro. We need to get him an Advil sponsorship, or I don't know, something. Tums,
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, some company get this brother something for his tough. I don't know, for his bad stomach. Excuse me.
Do you know what's really tough?
I might throw up. Goodness gracious. I don't know what the hell's going on with me right now. I think I had a stroke. Anyway, continue.
No, it's because I think you're upset of how excited I am about how the game went yesterday for the Habs and Carolina, because you know what would be rough? Starting the first period down 3-0. And to join us now is Marco D'Amico, co-host of Star D'Amico, friend of the show. Always happy to have you here, buddy.
Good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
Okay,
Good morning, sir.
Canadians lose 4 straight home games in a single postseason for the first time in franchise history. Terrible first period, and, well, they never picked it up. Tell me, my friend, what happened?
Carolina just pressed on the gas, didn't put the brakes on, and the Canadians had no answer to that. The Canadians tried to change their game up a little bit, try to be a little bit more aggressive in the offensive zone. They got caught twice with the puck going back the other way. You're down 3-0, before the end of the first period, and then Carolina just shut the game down. And Keandre Miller had himself another massive game. Jacob Slavin had another massive game. Chatfield, again, fantastic. And being able to box the Canadians out. And you have to give Carolina credit, right? This is a team that didn't used to play this style before and has really kind of come in and played that smothering defensive style. For a team that used to be really like a north-south kind of team constantly, they still do that. But when they need to shut the game down after that, that's the difference between this Carolina Hurricanes and what we've seen over the last 5 years. And when you're a team like Montreal that's gone through two 7-game series and are now facing a well-rested but absolute machine of a team when it comes to how they skate and how they play with pace, that's when, you get to game 4, you get to game 5. That's when you start seeing the legs get pulled from under you.
I think that contributes to what I'm going to bring up to you right now, that the Canadians set a Stanley Cup playoff record for the fewest shots on goal over a 3-game span of a playoff series with 43. You could hear the fans chanting in the third period, shoot the puck, when they're being outshot 14-0. I guess just basically, why aren't they shooting more?
Hesitancy, I think, is one of the big things. Like having to take 2 to 3 seconds to take a shot off when you have clear lanes. Especially from the point, the Canadians getting shots from the point has been an adventure in this series because Carolina's pressure at the blue line is so strong. Like they come at you so quickly that you have to make decisions, in a split second. Well, the Canadians are a fast team with their execution, but they're not that fast, or at least not yet. And so there's a lot of hesitancy. They're not putting pucks where soft ice is. Players aren't in movement, and possession is lost immediately. So you can't shoot if you're not in positions to shoot. And then when they are in positions to shoot, they hesitate or they try to make the extra pass. And that to me is the sobering reality of this right now, is that Montreal as a team prefer quality shots over, a volume shot kind of strategy. But that also means that they overpass the puck a lot. And that's the reason why the fans started chanting shoot the puck, because there were multiple grade A chances that could have been shots in the third period that were simply just passed off again. And then the puck was lost, and then Carolina went back the other way. So part of it is Carolina just smothering the play, not giving the Canadians anything in the high danger area. And the other aspect of it is, potentially being a little too cute with the puck and trying to go for the perfect play when you're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and sometimes the garbage goal is the right goal.
Yeah, and there's, Carolina right now is it feels like Montreal is having to question everything that they do to get here. Carolina is making them question that. And it's so tough when a team is as aggressive as Carolina is. And I'm sure Marty St. Louis is looking at the ice from the bench. He's like, you just got to make 1 or 2 passes, and then we got a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 going the other way, because they're ultra aggressive. And we saw that play out a lot in the first few games of this series, where Montreal didn't have a ton of shots, but they were converting, because the chances Carolina does give you when you're able to play through their pressure, they give you grade A chances. And that's the thing Montreal has just not been able to find as much in these last 2 games.
Yeah, it's the team that gave up the most amount of breakaways in the season and the most amount of odd man rushes in the season is the Carolina Hurricanes. And you said it. It's because they play such an aggressive forecheck. I mean, at some point last game, they had a 3-man forecheck going at the high blue line. I've rarely ever seen that. I think the only time I've ever seen that recently was like the epitome of the Martin Brodeur New Jersey Devils, like that level of trap. And so, absolutely, when you have such an aggressive forecheck, that leaves open ice. What the Canadiens did well in Game 1 is that they took advantage of that open ice. But you can't take advantage of that open ice if you're A, not playing with pace and speed, and B, not being so predictable in your skate patterns through the neutral zone, because that's really what it is. It became so predictable that if you're a guy like Keandre Miller who can take up, 100 square feet basically on the ice with his reach and his size, well, you simply just have to slide on over to the boards and it will stop anybody from streaking in on the opposite side of their forecheck, even if you're able to squeak that puck through the 3-man block. And if you're the Canadiens, they weren't playing close enough together like they were in Game 1 or like they have against the Buffalo Sabres or the Tampa Bay Lightning to be able to enter the zone with possession and pressure that would force the Carolina Hurricanes defense to back up. And I think when that happens, when you don't impose a level of pressure on the defense and they can just wait for you at the blue, poke the puck away or remove you from the play, it's impossible to get a string of shifts going from a momentum perspective. And that was the game last night.
I feel like I'm hearing a lot of, Montreal is got to be fatigued. They had the 2 7-game series before this one, whereas Carolina just played, they swept their first 2 rounds. They had a much easier path to this conference final than Montreal did. But at the same time, Carolina is the better team. They had the second best record in the league this year. They're healthier. They're more fresh. You start stacking all of those factors together, and you can see why Carolina's maybe getting stronger as this series goes on.
Yeah, obviously, I think that the 2 7-game series weighs on this team, right? Like, I'm sure that when we do a locker clean out, whenever that is, we're going to have ourselves a laundry list of injuries and, everyone's going to be like, now I understand. But at the same time, a lot of the players on this team have played upwards of 100 games this season. Nick Suzuki, when you factor in the Olympics, Juraj Slafkovsky, same thing. Like, this is a team that perhaps doesn't have the physical maturity yet to be able to go on these kinds of runs, especially when each series goes to 7 games, and even in that 7th game overtime, that weighs on a team. And we talked about the rest versus rust factor at the beginning of the series. I thought it would impact the series early, but I thought the rest factor, especially with the way that Carolina plays, that fast-paced, suffocating style, was going to come and be an advantage by Game 3. They were able to take advantage by Game 2, and that's where the series has gone because Montreal doesn't have the legs right now to keep up. And it's interesting because it requires you to have to think about the roster and have to think about strategically where this is going, similarly to the way that Carolina had to think about it when they were playing Florida the last 2 playoff runs, right? And they made really good adjustments this summer, going to get Nick Ehlers. The money trade of going to get Keandre Miller has paid off incredibly for them. And that's why they look like a different team this year. So kudos to them. They've taken advantage of the opportunities. Have they had an easier path? Yeah, I think you can easily argue that the Metropolitan Division isn't on the same level as the Atlantic Division, but they've taken their opportunities. And if Montreal were better at closing out series, maybe they'd be a little bit less tired because they had an opportunity in each of their previous 2 to finish it at 6 and instead push to 7.
Marco, good morning, sir. Cabbie here. Yeah, Keandre Miller's been awesome. That goal that he set up Jordan Stahl was pretty impressive. In the second period, out of frustration or whatever, Josh Anderson pops Jalen Chatfield after a scrum, and he gets a roughing call actually against Nick Ehlers. Was that understandable, or how surprised were you that Montreal was maybe uncharacteristically undisciplined with 6 penalties in Game 4?
Oh man, I think there was a game against Tampa in Montreal where there were like 19 penalties called. So I'm no longer surprised at the indiscipline when it
19 is
honestly
okay. Yeah,
I have never seen that. There was more special teams played than 5-on-5. I've rarely seen that in a playoff game. But I digress. When it comes to the Canadiens' discipline, I mean, they're pissed, Cabbie. Like it was in the dressing room after the game, like uncharacteristic amount of profanity in terms of how they felt that they were playing. And it's not by chance, man. It's Carolina is a team that will frustrate you. It's a team that really kind of makes you question and second guess yourself. Hence the hesitancy that they have in their execution in the offensive zone and in transition, because you're always second guessing. You're always like, if I'm going to go and get a puck along the boards, if I turn around, do I have one guy right behind me and one guy at the boards ready to box me in? Like, what's my next move? You're going to turn the puck over and then you're chasing the puck back the other way. Well, if that happens to you shift after shift after shift, you start getting annoyed and you start taking undisciplined penalties. And, you know, to his credit, Josh Andersen has been a warrior for the Canadiens, but he has been the poster boy of showing the Montreal's emotional litmus test on the ice. He's the kind of guy that if the Canadiens are in control, he won't get involved. The Canadiens are chasing a game emotionally. He's one of the first to try and impose, you know, to exert that emotion onto the opposition. He's done so throughout most of the season. But again, you live and die with heart and soul players like that. Even Phil Deneau, Lane Hudson, those guys were angry yesterday, and rightfully so, because when you play a team like Carolina that gives you absolutely nothing, yeah, it's very frustrating when you can't find a solution to that.
Yeah, I can imagine, bro. And these guys are, 25 humans that are just like, they just got shut out on their home ice. I do want to give credit. You mentioned the special teams. Montreal killing off a 5-on-3 and then a 5-on-4 penalty in the second segment. Like, that was.
You want a crazy stat, Cabbie?
Yes, I do.
There hasn't been one 5v3 goal scored in the playoffs so far.
What?
Wait,
crazy.
In the entire playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Not one team has scored on a 5-on-3 yet.
Cray.
Crazy.
Yeah, holy cow. Geez, I don't know what that's about. And maybe so my question isn't about that, but I do want to give the Canadiens a little bit of props for that, the special teams on in that particular situation. Can you explain this to me, Marco? Montreal's record at home is 2-6 in the playoffs. Yeah. Montreal's record on the road is 7-3. How do you explain that discrepancy, if you can, bro?
Honestly, three of those 8 games went to overtime. So that's anybody's real guess at that point. You do what you can. 2 of those 8 were game 6s where the Canadiens were facing or were able to eliminate another team. So part of it is killer instinct to me in being able to close out series on home ice. I think that they got significant pushback, and they've been better on the road all season, have the Montreal Canadiens. So part of it is circumstantial. Part of it is luck when it comes to overtime. But I do feel like it's been the theme of these playoffs in the East that the road record is always better than the home record. And we've seen this, with Tampa. They were a road team as well. We saw it with Buffalo. They were a road team as well. So much so that those 2 teams didn't go home for game 7, even though they were at home. They decided to go to hotels to emulate being on the road because they also had a home record issue. So it's been the story of the playoffs for me that home ice advantage doesn't really mean much. And usually when you have a team like Montreal where the fans are chanting at 115 to 120 decibels between plays, it's a lot, and it should give you energy. And the Canadiens have gotten energy from them. They've won some convincing games at home, but unfortunately, like I said, they haven't been able to string them along with consistency. And you have a game, you have these series now against Carolina. Home ice advantage doesn't mean much because they play so quickly that they're able to cycle in and out lines on the rush while maintaining offensive zone pressure. So you can't really have a matchup game against them unless you slow the game down. Canadiens haven't been able to do that.
And a quick note, Carolina is 6-0 on the road in the playoffs. So just to your point that home ice advantage isn't as much as a factor in this particular 2026 playoff season as it has been in the past.
Yeah.
We're talking about energy here, and no matter which team advances, most likely it's going to be Carolina, they won't be as well rested as the Vegas Golden Knights. And Michael Bublé, yes, the award-winning singer, was in Toronto yesterday because he's promoting a new show he has coming up about the Vancouver Giants. He's one of the owners. It's a hockey-focused show, kind of what happens behind the scenes. But I asked him, like, hey, as also Vancouver Canucks fans, we know pretty much every other fan base likes to see when Toronto Maple Leafs fans suffer. Because, of course, let's make it about the Leafs. I said, which would you hate more or love more for Leafs fans to suffer through? Mitch Marner and the Vegas Golden Knights winning the Stanley Cup trophy, or the final rather, or the Habs winning? And here's what he had to say. And I want your guys' take on how he kind of spun this question.
I don't enjoy it at all. I'm not a big fan of the Vegas Golden Knights. Not a big fan of the fact that we keep seeing Stanley Cups where teams come from cities that their tax benefits. Yep. And I think at some point, even though I know that the people that run hockey don't want to talk about it and say it's not real, at some point it's real. So I love Mitch. I'm a big Mitch fan, like as a person, great guy.
So the Mitch thing, but just your take.
You can tell he's a real hockey fan if he's making that comment.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we don't run hockey, but just any of you want to comment on his take about Vegas again being in the Stanley Cup Final?
Well,
Go ahead, Marco.
I think Vegas is, yes, there is the no tax situation, but again, like I won't get into specifics, but and obviously I'm not about to promote tax evasion, but there are ways around the system. There are ways around the system, especially, for American-born players like Austin. Go and look at Austin Matthews' contract. Look at all those signing bonuses versus actual salary. There's a reason for that. As an Arizona native, that he does that, where you get around the notion of taxes. To me, the Vegas Golden Knights have just been ruthlessly aggressive in their player acquisition strategy. And whenever they've found a player that they wanted to go and get, they've not only gone out and get them, but they've been able to extend him long term. And the only questionable acquisition that they've made was Mitch Marner, whether or not, the discussion of potential tampering was involved, and then that sign and trade with the Leafs, like that's the only one where you're like, what just happened here? But other than that, what has Nashville won a cup because of the no tax thing? Is Seattle any better because of the no tax situation? Is Dallas a more, dangerous team because of the no tax, or is Jim Nill just that good of a GM? The Florida teams, to me, I'll say it this way. The no tax situation, I think, helps keep salaries lower on an average, but I think it was ever more apparent during a flat cap era. Now that the salary cap is going up by $8 to $9 million every summer, it's going to be more about how you manage your core and how effective you are in your acquisition, be it via draft, via trade, that's going to make it happen. Because the Carolina Hurricanes are in the Eastern Conference Final basically every year for the last 3-4 years. I don't think it's because of a no tax thing. It's because of how strong they are in player acquisition.
Ugh, I needed to FaceTime you, and I was talking to Bublé. I got 90 seconds with him on the red carpet. So next time I'm calling you. We're going to make a pact. But I appreciate your time today. We will probably talk to you after, the series is probably going to wrap in the next game. So we appreciate you today, Marco.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks,
and
bro.
I would never say anything about the Canadiens being down 3-1. But good things have happened depending on the team.
Lindsay, you walked right into that one. You walked right into that
2020.
one. Yeah, it was 3-1.
I was there in the
Lindsay,
bubble covering
I
this team.
I do agree with you, though, that unfortunately it does look like the Canadiens are out of gas at this point. But again, looking forward to being able to talk about the series and what's next for this team with you guys at the next opportunity. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Marco.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks,
That one
Marco.
hurt. I was there in the bubble, and I still remember how flipping cold it was in the arena because it was in the middle of summer and it was hot. But I want to play a clip of somebody people thinks is the greatest Raptor of all time. Kyle Lowry was also in Toronto because he will be part of the NBA on Prime that will be now in Canada. They get 66 games. So I thought this would be a good chance, Cabbie, to maybe ask Lowry if he's retiring and about one of his former teammates who is now in the NBA Finals. When you are an analyst, when you're bringing NBA on Prime to Canada, this upcoming season, will it be as retired player Kyle Lowry?
I don't know. The future is still very much up there, but it's bright for me, whatever it is. I look forward to the next step, next stage, or if it's staying continuous of a stage.
You know you're so beloved here, but across the NBA, I do need to get some analysis for you right now. When we talk about the finals, your former teammate OG Anunoby in it, and I'll never forget that bubble moment where you were cheering. He was stone cold. What are your thoughts on him being in the finals?
I love OG. I just spoke with him after they won and made it to the finals. He's focused on the next 4 wins, but I'm so proud of him from where he's come from and to where he is right now. He still has a long way to go. I'm just so happy for him as a friend.
I am so happy for us right now when we bring on friend of the show who, if you are listening, is rocking the best fit we've ever seen. Welcome to the show.
Let's go.
Let's
go, Ben Lyons.
Ben Lyons, NBA journalist who's brought us so much joy on wherever it may be, SiriusXM, to your screens for decades. But for this moment, I'm just going to address you as Knicks fan, Ben. How you feeling today? I think the vibes are pretty high.
I feel amazing. It's great to be back with the Off the Roster crew during the NBA Finals in New York City. And I don't know if you can see this. It still says Lyons in the back of my jersey here because it's from summer camp when my mother would put my name in the jersey so I wouldn't lose it at summer camp. So that's how long we've been rocking with Anthony Mason and the New York Knicks.
Wow.
I'm so excited. I have not slept. I have to remind myself to eat. The city is on fire. It's turning into Gotham as we get closer to game 1. This is crazy, guys. It's really, I never in my wildest dreams where I thought Cabbie would call me to talk about the finals.
Yes!
Congrats, bro. Congrats.
I was convinced we weren't going to bring you on the show after the Scotty Barnes slander you dropped last time, but
we're talking Scotty Barnes. What are we talking about here?
He got snubbed for all NBA. Okay, I just want to get that in.
This is the jersey that Scotty Barnes is wearing right now. It's a Jamaica jersey.
You were ready.
This is Scotty Barnes. Live look at Scotty Barnes right now. Here we go.
Oh man, he was ready with that. I also love the fact that you're rocking that jersey right now from your childhood, but you just posted an Instagram carousel that also showed you rocking the jersey from when you're a wee tyke to now hanging out with Spike Lee and everyone around the Knicks. You talked a little bit about this city. It has been so long since they've been in the finals. Were you nervous for a moment that they were going to have what happened last year in the Eastern Conference Final?
Of course. I'm old enough to remember all the trauma and all the historic losses. And these games, it's not only weird that they're here, right? This franchise has had a lot of troubles over the last 50-odd years. That in itself is strange. But the games themselves were not real basketball games. They're up by 30 with 16 minutes into the game. And now you've got 8 minutes left in the second quarter and they're up 30. So all that could happen was catastrophe. So it was a weird way to watch basketball where you're like, all right, I guess they've won the game now at halftime. Yet Shaq and Kenny were doing chorus line dancing at halftime. So they're not, yes, I've been nervous the whole time, but I'm just really trying to be present and enjoy it. And it's funny, this Knicks run, so much of it with this generation is the documentation. The videos outside the Garden, everybody Instagramming that they're there, the fits, all the stuff. I just want to be present for it because this is definitely, something I've never experienced as an adult man.
I didn't know we would be able to find a bigger Knicks fan than Timothy Chalamet to get on the show, but apparently we have him, and he looks like an extra from Uncut Gems.
Available now on DVD.
Okay, bro, you're a legend. What
else is in the bag of tricks over there?
Kylie Jenner's lip gloss or whatever the heck it is. Oh my gosh.
So okay. I mean, how do you feel about the Knicks analytically losing the Eastern Conference Final, though?
Yeah, it's all knotted up, right? It's 2-2 heading back to the world's most famous, right? It's funny. My mother's an admissions director, retired admissions director here in New York City. And she quoted my friend, former coach up there in Toronto, and your friend, the great Sam Mitchell, in one of her board meetings because they asked her about the analytics that she uses to put together the class in the school. And she said, my son worked with Sam Mitchell, and he said that sometimes when it comes to analytics, you just got to look a player in the eye and say, can you ball? And the fact that my mother quoted Sam Mitchell in this board meeting, and the board was like, you know what, Judy, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, that's what it is now. The analytics you throw out the window, and you just go out there and you check ball and you play basketball. I mean, Jalen Brunson has not played one fourth quarter in any of the elimination games to get here. What do the analytics say about that? Like, it's just not real basketball right now. So, yeah, analytics. Kenny Atkinson, just keep pounding the keyboard, buddy. Keep pounding the keyboard on these.
Pounding it in Cancun.
I met Kenny Atkinson once in Positano. It's a beautiful place in the summertime, so I hope he's enjoying it.
Yeah, no, nobody does 1, 2, 3 Cancun better than James Harden. As we saw, analytics for him were not very good in any closeout game in these playoff. But okay, so the Knicks are headed to the final. We are watching the Western Conference Final. Could end tonight with the OKC Thunder and San Antonio Spurs. Who would be the better matchup for your Knicks?
What other props do you have?
Man, just the fact that we even are having this conversation, it's like, could the Knicks turn Victor Wembanyama into Uwe Blab? You guys remember Uwe Blab?
Wow, bro, that's phenomenal, dude.
This generation knows nothing about Uwe Blab, okay?
Neither do we. Neither do we.
Yeah, Ben, we're Canadian. We know Uwe Krupp. We don't know.
Wow.
Well done.
Okay.
Touche on your Uwe reference there. I joke with Victor, but it's like, I don't know if you want to sign up for that. And then you want to sign up for the, possibly the defending champions, going for 2 in a row in OKC. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Isaiah Hartenstein coming back to the world's most famous. So I don't know. I really don't care, to be honest. This team's really good, and it's such an honor and a privilege to be at this stage. I'm not going to sit here and be like, actually, I'd like this cut of the filet. No, just I'm happy we're having dinner,
Hey, listen, Ben, thank you very much for going into your tickle trunk and just bringing out a bunch of just incredible props for this discussion this morning, and just wearing the Morpheus sunglasses. I think you're the first person ever to wear sunglasses on our podcast. And we're
get too close to the sun, you might get burned. You know what I'm saying, Cabbie? It's bright out here in the city.
Yes, I can imagine. And the bright lights of the world's most famous arena are increasingly intense. But follow me here on this one. This is a bit of a long question, but 16 years ago, speaking of bright lights, LeBron, Chris Bosh, D Wade all take a pay cut to play together on the Miami Heat, and they go on to win a couple of championships. In hockey here in Canada, Connor McDavid takes a pay cut for his Edmonton Oilers in order for the team to be more flexible in a hard salary cap sport. And Jalen Brunson, your guy, left $100 million on the table so that the Knicks could have the flexibility to pay OG Anunoby $200 million, Mikal Bridges $150, and absorb Karl Anthony Towns' contract. Is this a generational bag fumble from Jalen Brunson, or is he one of the most selfless superstars in the sport?
No, it's a great question, and you mentioned all those legends who have had to sacrifice some personal income in the short term for hopes of long-term success. I mean, I think about Terrence Howard in Iron Man. Like,
wow,
remember Terrence Howard was like, I'm not getting paid RDJ numbers.
Yeah,
that's a bag fumble, by the way.
I've played golf with Don Cheadle in Hawaii. He's got a really nice house down there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in life, just to be on the team, that's the win. And something tells me that Jalen Brunson's DoorDash here is going to be – he's getting those DoorDash checks. That's going up, I'm telling you. Yeah. Winning cures everything, guys, and it's unfortunate that the superstars have to sacrifice a little bit. If you're the best at what you do, you should be able to make the most that you can in a free market economy, in a free society. But within a salary cap sport, there are limitations with that. And always in sports, we're paying people for what we think they can do when athletes want to be paid for what they've done. And there's always, that impasse. But yeah, this guy deciding to sacrifice in order for the benefit of the team is a reason why the name Jalen will be in the top 5 names in New York for the next 10 years, for anyone expecting out there.
Okay. There's going to be a
How do
boom
you put
of
a value
Jalen's
on that?
How do you put a value on that? I mean, it's a great time for Jalen and a great time for OG as we. Okay, here's a question for you, because we as
Thank you
Raptors
guys,
fans.
by the way. Thank you all in Toronto, by the way.
For giving
I
you
stand
OG
on this hill.
Anunoby?
I still believe that RJ Barrett is going to make the Basketball Hall of Fame. I've tweeted that out. I love RJ Barrett. I still think the Maple Mamba is destined for a trip to Springfield. It might be because he's part of like a Team Canada that wins a World Cup and gets in or something, but he will be forever immortalized in Springfield. But thank you. Thank you so much for OG Anunoby. He's awesome.
Listen, so here's my question. Who do you think will be hate watching the NBA Finals most intensely when it's New York versus OKC or San Antonio? Former Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau, former New York Knick Julius Randle, former New York Knick Emmanuel Quickley, or former New York Knick, as you mentioned, RJ Barrett?
I hope they're all in the building. Everybody's welcome. All is forgotten. I want Gerard Mustaf there. I want Benno Udry there. I want Bargnani. I want your guy Bargnani there. I want everybody. All is forgiven.
Right there.
You know what I'm saying? Spike was hugging Mr. Dolan out there in Cleveland. Like, everything is good. Everyone is welcome. Michael Rappaport, you might need to buy a ticket. You gave up getting those free tickets a long time ago when you jumped ship, but that's okay. But everybody's welcome. I hope Thibodeau is sitting on a beach in Malaga with a big plate of jamon, watching it on a big screen. I really do. And I hope Randall and his young son, the day after they named a gymnasium I think it was in the Bronx, maybe. It was like the Julius Randle Gymnasium. Yep. They had a big ribbon cutting. The next day, the Knicks traded him. Man, that's tough.
No way.
And Randall's a pro. Randall really set off the next day. Randall set off this bing bong era, and I think Knick fans will embrace him. So I hope he embraces the city when he comes back. But yeah, man, everybody's welcome. Every year in the history of the NBA Finals, there has been an ex-Knick or a Knick on one of the two rosters. Shout out to Bobby Portis for winning a title in Milwaukee. Shout out to DeAndre Jordan for winning a title in Denver. Bill Cartwright all those years with the Bulls. Jeremy Lin won a title with you guys up in Toronto.
That's right.
Everybody's a part of this. We've been cheering for ex-Knicks in the finals. Mozgov has a ring. I think Eddie Curry got a ring in Miami. It's really crazy, guys. So this is happening. Everyone's invited. No one's hate watching. This is really special. I'm fired up if you can't tell.
I can't tell at all. I'm actually really worried about you, the fact that you're not interested in the fact that the Knicks are in the finals for first time in a long time. I'm very concerned for you. But you say everyone is welcome. Would Spurs fans or potentially Thunder fans be welcome to sit courtside? Because we all know about the fun little drama that happened in Cleveland.
I mean, you gotta have a really successful used car dealership business down in Oklahoma City if you're affording courtsides at the world's most famous for the finals. Who are these fans? Who are they? I don't know. I haven't seen these fans. Maybe some French tycoon who grew up watching Tony Parker and just loves the Spurs. He will come from Bordeaux to come watch the Knicks in the Garden. I don't know. I mean, this sounds like a lot of the political debates we have in our country, that people just make up these scenarios that don't exist and then argue about them. So, yeah, I guess if that Spurs fan wants to come up here and sit court. Is Shea Serrano selling that many books that he wants to buy courtside tickets? Maybe.
Great reference. Shout out to Shea Serrano.
Speaking of Shea's, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I feel like he's becoming one of the biggest villains in the NBA, and a matchup with the Knicks and his flopping reputation that has developed quite a bit or evolved quite a bit here in these playoffs. He is about to become the biggest villain in the NBA if he pulls this off against the Knicks.
Mentioned Gotham City before. I think it's a Batman quote where it's if you live long enough to be the hero, you become the villain or something. Why are people hating on this guy? Because he flops? I mean, I don't know. The NBA has had a long history of guys working the refs, and whether they're talking to them or post-game comments or, just trying to gain an advantage. People say that about Jalen Brunson too. He's 6'1" and doesn't have the physical attributes of some of his opponents. So he's trying to find an edge however he can. Shea being 6'6" and falling all over the floor like he does, it's a tough watch. We live in this generation where the Twitter fingers love to talk about ethical buckets. And if it's like an ethical hoop or whatnot. He's a tremendous talent. I got a chance to watch them for the first time live this year, actually, when they came to the Garden. And he's awesome. I mean, he's really solid and is in control of his body and makes the right plays and is always playing at his tempo, never looks flustered. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that at least in America, it feels like, I hate to say this, like the Knicks have become America's team. Like,
wow.
I mean, like the
Puerto
Cowboys
Rico,
becoming
you got Jose Alvarado. You got people putting their arms around the big fella, the big bodega cat. He's an awesome dude. I don't know, guys. Like, it sounds like if you don't have an allegiance to the laundry here, if you're a neutral, you're probably gonna be rooting for the Knicks. Just saying.
Yeah, I get it, because but also you may like sympathize for people from Oklahoma City, so maybe that's why you cheer for them, because they live in Oklahoma City.
They've had so much winning basketball since they stole the Sonics. Like, are you kidding me? Like, even when Chris Paul came and they were terrible, they were still good. Terrible. You know, like they've had a lot of success there. You know, they even got to experience the twilight years of Carmelo Anthony's prime. You know, they've had a lot of success down there in Oklahoma as fans. I do not feel sorry for them.
Well, Ben, I don't feel sorry. Yeah, sorry, Cab.
Oh, sorry, I had. Were you gonna wrap? I had one more just to make it Toronto Maple Leafs. If we can.
We do one more. I was going to tell the story of when Phil Jackson lived in my parents' building, and I had my dad put underneath his door, "My son thinks you should draft Justice Winslow the night of the 2015 draft, but he took Porzingis." I could tell that story if you want, but no, let's talk about the Maple Leafs.
No, well, I was gonna not exactly, but okay. So Shohei Ohtani played for 6 or 7 years with the Angels, leaves and immediately wins 2 World Series with the LA Dodgers. In Toronto, we had a hockey player named Mitch Marner who played for the Maple Leafs for 9 years. They didn't make it to any championship level rounds like the Shohei Ohtani Angels, and now Mitch Marner has an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup because the Vegas Golden Knights are in the Stanley Cup Final. For you, Ben, does your fandom prevent you from rooting for a former player on your favorite team, or do you feel happy for someone who's in a new situation and can win a championship? Because fans in Toronto are very passionately experiencing Mitch Marner's opportunity to win a Stanley Cup in Vegas, where he did not deliver one in Toronto.
Guys, I don't know if you keep tabs on what's happening in the Euro League, but shout out to Olympiacos for winning the championship. That's right, Frank Ntilikina and Evan Fournier, ex-Knicks, winning titles. Are you kidding me? Last year I got to see Mario Hezonja play for Real Madrid. Like, we're rooting for these guys for life. This is crazy. Like, I want J.R. Smith to win college golf tournaments. Like,
he is kicking butt on a pro tour right now that has a bunch of former NFL, MLB players on. He also just finished.
He's playing serious golf tournaments now and like competing. He's really going for it. It's amazing.
We appreciate your time. The last thing I want to ask you before you go, and if anybody is listening, you must go check this video later on YouTube, Off the Roster, because your show and tell, phenomenal. Do you have any other items that we have not prompted you to show? Okay, yes. He said 1 second.
He's 1 second. He's grabbing
it. So, yes, we do have a Steve Novak bobblehead from Marquette.
Oh, yeah, that's impressive.
Come on, man.
That's impressive.
That's serious, right?
Yeah.
I got a little pin here. I didn't wear the pin for the thing. But now, all right.
But you came with the champion jersey and the Mitchell and Ness baseball cap. Like, that's legit, bro. Because that champion jersey is from like '97.
Brunson jersey. We like it.
They're so much fun.
The center of the basketball universe is going to be the world's most famous arena. Okay. Shout out to Delta, phenomenal airline. I think they have great flights from New York to Toronto. But I like to say I sit in the Spike Lee seats, the NYU Film School Spike Lee seats. So we're going to be hopefully right up where it says A for Delta. I think that's where we're going to be on Wednesday. But we're hoping to be in the building. But no, thank you all for having me on. This is crazy. It's very surreal. I'm sure, if they lose, footage will live forever and I'll be a joke. And I don't care. Like, the Knicks are in the finals. I've been through so much, my friends and I. Like, I can't even tell you. This is very emotional for me to be on this show. Thank you so much for having me.
I can't wait for you to be crying, celebrating in the parade. We will absolutely have you live for that moment.
Weeping in the shower, biting the washcloth. Yes, thank you.
Have a good one.
Ben,
Thanks
you're
for
a
joining
G.
us.
You're a G. Thank you, bro.
I just wish he was excited about them being in the finals. That's just
Right,
so
yes.
unfortunate. Like, that
Yeah,
was
he's,
just legendary.
He's so tempered. He's just so reserved about his fandom. It's crazy.
Just unfortunate.
Cab, I can't believe you brought up Mitch Marner and like zero context
I
of why
loved
Leaf
it.
fans are so scorned about Mitch Marner's ascension to the Stanley Cup Final in his first year as a Vegas Golden Knight. Like zero context
I loved
whatsoever.
it.
It's a
I did leave out some
different.
valuable information. You're right. I did leave out a few important nuggets to
okay.
distinguish between Shohei leaving, just like, all right, I'm just gonna go get a $700 million contract versus Mitch Marner, who put some fans through an emotional ringer of which I guess, you're right.
Also, the Angels sucked so bad that they couldn't win baseball games with two of the best players on
I
planet
know,
Earth
but
on
that's
their
kind of the
roster.
thing. That's kind of the thing. The number one and number two in the sport on the same team, and they didn't even sniff the playoffs.
Not even sniffing.
Yeah.
No, they would go spend $400 million on Anthony Rendon or whoever it was.
But you did.
Yeah,
bring
it
up
was
Mitch
Rendon.
Marner.
Yeah,
It
200 and
was.
something. Yeah, and that guy played like 30 games.
Oh my
total.
God.
Yeah.
Awful.
I feel like Cabbie was just setting me up for this, though. He was giving me a nice
Mm-hmm.
alley-oop because Zach went a little bit viral yesterday involving Mitch Marner. So, Zach, would you like to explain to the class, and that mostly being me and everyone online, what happened?
Yeah, we yesterday I saw it take off a little bit where somebody, Mike Stevens, had posted a tweet about somebody's security guard
Sliding
sending
into the DMs.
Yeah. I mean, he's commented on off the roster stuff before. He's DM'd me before. I was just holding on to that one. And then I just had a laugh at it because he sent the exact same message to me as he sent to Mike Stevens. And that was Rocket Security. So I just threw out a little screenshot. And then next thing you know, like an hour later, I was getting DMs from people I haven't seen since like elementary school being like, yo, is this you? It got picked up on like Instagram accounts and stuff. So yeah, it took off.
What kind of
but-
messages were you being sent, though? Because there's a little bit more context.
Yeah, I mean, it would be after like Marner would do something where his security would DM and be like, "What are you gonna say tonight?" Calling people like mouthpieces and stuff, and being like, "You're a fraud. You don't know what you're watching. You don't know what you're talking about." Like all this stuff, and like the thing that always it just made me laugh was he would always just out the fact that he was Marner's security guard. Like people started replying to me, replying to Mike Stevens and stuff, being like, here's my experience with him. And it would be him being like, I'm best friends with Mitch. You don't understand how much I know him, like all this stuff.
This does zero favors to Mitch, by the way.
No, yeah.
It's like-
So
It's the worst thing that could be happening for Mitch Marner right now is Rocket Security going around and yelling at people about Mitch Marner and what happened in Toronto. It's like, man, just leave it alone. If you were over it, just be over it then.
Yeah,
I kind of wish we
why,
had all had a friend like Rocket, like someone just to defend your honor regardless. Like
Yeah.
he's 10 toes down, standing on business
Yes.
regardless. I kind of like
Yes.
that about Rocket.
Yeah. Well, that's why, like, just to add in context, like, yesterday we had that conversation on the show, and I don't think I was, like, as articulate about my side of it as I probably needed to be. And I understand where Cabbie and Lindsay were coming from in the conversation, where you guys are saying, like, the stuff that was happening to him is unacceptable. And I want to be clear, I 1000% agree with you guys. But to the point that you guys were making about empathizing with him over these things, I just have a harder time doing so when I know that someone who's on his payroll, whether he's telling him to do this stuff or not, that is completely, like, we have no idea, and I don't want to make that assumption. But it's just hard for me to be like, yeah, I empathize with this person who's complaining about being harassed by fans when someone he is employing is harassing other people. Now, personally, do I care? No, I'm somebody who thinks it's funny and like enjoys it and has a laugh at it. But like, do other people probably have a harder time dealing with some of these things? I would imagine they do. And that's kind of where I would just come back to and being like, I don't really empathize to the same extent. Do I think that's the stuff that happened was incredibly wrong and offside? 1000%, guys, I agree with you, but like my line is just a little bit different when it comes to some of that stuff. That's all I was trying to get across. I wasn't really going to say some of the stuff yesterday on the show. And then like 3 hours after the show ended yesterday, some guy tweeted out a screenshot of something I had received, and I was like, all right, screw it. And then I'm getting in the mix. And so that's kind of where that went. But just some added context.
Do you know who the top 2 players are predicted to get the Conn Smythe trophy?
Mitch Marner. It should be Jack Eichel, but Mitch Marner and
It's probably Freddie Andersen at this point.
It is 2 former
it
Leafs.
can't be. Like,
It is. It
he
is
makes
right
12
now.
saves a night. Like I don't even. What are we doing
You
here?
would get
Like,
him going, guys.
Conn Smythe
Bro.
for Freddie Andersen. He almost cost Carolina the series earlier in this thing. Just we got one
Hold
shutout,
on,
making
wait, Dan.
18 saves last night.
Dan,
I mean, come on.
Dan, the
Bro,
guy's
if a goalie's going to win the Conn
11-1.
Smythe, he's got to be standing on his head. Okay,
He has
that's
3
how a
shutouts.
goalie wins.
He has 3 shutouts in this.
It's because
these
Carolina
playoffs,
gives up
Dan.
5 shots a game. I mean, they haven't played anybody.
Still, bro, the save percentage is like 950. The goals against is like
No. Be honest about it.
114,
Freddie Andersen would win the Conn Smythe in absence of another real candidate, because nobody wants to give it to Taylor Hall. They're going to give it to
Yes.
Freddie Andersen.
Oh, another
that's-
candidate on his team. Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
right,
I understand.
right.
Yeah,
You know what's really frustrating?
Maybe
as
they
a
should give it
Leafs
to
fan?
Keandre Miller. I don't know.
To make this about the Leafs,
He's
'cause
been
why
awesome.
not?
Yes.
we're already here.
It is
Zach,
extremely
so yes.
frustrating watching the Carolina Hurricanes do what they're doing, giving up 12, 13, 18 shots a game, and just continuing to win, because the Leafs did that for years with Freddie Andersen, the guy who's the goaltender for the Carolina Hurricanes. And yet he would find a way to put one in off his own ass
Yeah.
or score on himself.
Just the most backbreaking
or-
goal.
Yeah.
In the worst
And the Leafs
possible
would lose.
moment.
Like they would be 1-1 in the third period playing these types of games where they would Corsi the other team to hell, and then they would lose 2-1 because Freddie would like just forget he had a glove hand and it would go in. How is it the same guy doing this?
Yeah.
It's painful. It's
I
painful.
knew it would be. I'm glad I brought
This
that
guy
You know what?
now
Go
has
Canes. Go Canes.
this guy now has 8 career
Polsky
playoff
Pub.
shutouts, and he's passed Cam Ward for the most playoff shutouts in a Carolina Hurricanes short existence, but still, like Cam Ward was. I don't know if Cam Ward's a Hall of Famer, but is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, he does have
Cam
a
Ward's not
title.
Hall of Famer. Tough for bar for goalies.
Also, yeah, true. Yeah, if you don't have a bunch of Vezinas or at least a Vezina, then yeah, it's a hard road to hard case to make to get into the Hall of Fame. But like Freddie, man, like this is a redemption series for him as well. The guys, you're right, Dan. Like the Carolina outshot Montreal 19-3 in the third period. Montreal had 18 shots on goal total in the game. The as you mentioned in the conversation with Marco, they're just so aggressive and just so stifling of a structure that teams. I don't know why Montreal is just waiting for like the best, and Marco said this, waiting for like the quality chances versus just get pucks in, as the cliche goes, just get pucks in deep, just get pucks on net, and maybe things will happen. It's the playoffs. Redirections happen all the time, and pucks go off of goaltenders' backsides, as you and Zach just mentioned, all the time. So that's maybe what Montreal needs to do for the next 4 games if they want to, advance to the Stanley Cup Final.
I do want to shout out colleague Nick Alberga, who pointed out well on Twitter last night that nobody's talking about Nick Ehlers and how he left Winnipeg and is one win away from the Stanley Cup Final.
Oh, fair
Nick
enough.
Ehlers
Yes.
with
Great
maybe
point.
maybe not as similar a playoff track record as Mitch Marner, but similar in that they also stunk. He also stunk every time Winnipeg was in the playoffs and just completely disappeared. And now he's 1 win away from the Stanley Cup Final.
Great point, actually.
Because
Jeez.
nobody cares about the Winnipeg Jets other than the players on the team itself. Nobody is dunking on Jets Nation the way that they will Leafs Nation if Mitch Marner ends up winning a cup.
That was an unnecessary shot at Winnipeg.
I mean, he's spitting facts though. I don't even know if they sell out that build. That building is one of the smallest in the NHL. I think like 15,000, 16,000.
Yeah, and their owner is like threatening, or at least what was it last year or the year before, like threatening to, like, hey, you guys better fill up the stadium or we might have to leave again.
It is rough there.
Let's not go down that road. But there was
Great
Leafs
point
news
by
yesterday.
Alberta. Oh, Go
There was
on.
Leafs news yesterday.
Yeah, their
Head coaching
report,
search?
Jay Woodcroft is reportedly in the mix.
I like it. Like Jay Woodcroft, I think he got a bad rap with how it all ended in Edmonton. But if you really look at his record, it was incredible. And his track record in the AHL was really strong with the Bakersfield Condors, the Oilers affiliate, before graduating into the head coaching position with the Edmonton Oilers. He took them to a 50-win season in his first full year, lost in the second round to the Vegas Golden Knights. And then, as we all know, it went completely off the rails in the start of that 23-24 season before they hired Chris Knobloch. And yeah, Connor McDavid said afterwards, like, he didn't lose the room, but, there had to be something going on that team completely turtled with Jay Woodcroft and then immediately flipped it around once they made the coaching change, which has been a bit of a pattern for that Oilers core through the years, if we are being honest about it. The thing is, the Leafs need somebody that is completely away from what they just had here, and I do feel that Jay Woodcroft does a lot of that. The reason Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, those guys had such great success with the Edmonton Oilers under Jay Woodcroft, he found a way to get his best offensive players into great offensive positions. And that's what the Leafs got away from under Craig Berube, and it's something I would welcome back within the Leafs fold. So if Jay Woodcroft is one of the favorites to be the next Leaf head coach, this is heading in a good direction from my estimation.
Do we know if Anaheim's given permission for Woodcroft to interview with the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah, he is going to be interviewed as per reports by the Maple Leafs.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not cock blocking him like they are, like Vegas's Bruce Cassidy.
No, they are not doing that.
And conversely, apparently the Oilers met with Craig Berube for 3 to 4 hours over the weekend. So things are looking up for Toronto.
Speaking of
Interesting.
former Toronto people,
Wow,
I'd like
what a
to Brad Tree living.
Total-
I'll get to that in a moment, but I would love to have both of you hit home runs when it comes to your ProLine pick of the day. I have to make sure I get this in, 'cause to be honest, I almost forgot. The new ProLine app is here. Bet baseball online and in-store. This ain't the old ProLine. The new app makes betting baseball easier than ever. Enjoy more props and same-game parlays all baseball season long on the ProLine app.
We are throwing caution to the wind tonight with no NHL game on the docket. Blue Jays and Orioles. Maybe I was thinking about going over in the total there with Patrick Corbin against Chris Bassett as the pitching matchup for that one. But the game that's going to be on my screen tonight is Game 6 of the Western Conference Final in the NBA. I'm going with a Victor Wembanyama 30-plus points tonight. Wemby's going to put that team on his back and force a Game 7. So Wemby plus 30 points is the play for me tonight.
Dan, I am sticking with you in the association and Game 6 of the Western Conference Final. Steph Castle is the second most important player on the San Antonio Spurs. He is the primary defender on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And my play today is Steph Castle over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's hit this total 3 times in this series. Steph Castle, you know what you need to do. Have a big day to support the big fella and get a W to force this Western Conference Final to a 7th game, which would be on Saturday. Let's go. And these picks, of course, are for entertainment purposes only.
Let's go. I love those picks. I'm hoping for an entertaining game tonight. And like you said, Cabbie, I am hoping for a Game 7. But I want both of your advice because, Cabbie, I believe you have more patience than I do because you have children. Dan, I just think you have a lot of patience because you have to sit by me at least 5 days a week. But yesterday I experienced road rage for the first time in my life. I didn't actually do anything about it. Dan and I were both at this thing called Amazon Upfronts. It's where they preview a bunch of things coming out in the future for anybody that doesn't know like what an upfront is for a company in media. It took me 2 hours to get home, which normally it's a 23-minute drive. I was stuck on the Gardner Express for an hour, and then I was stuck on Front Street for an hour. But shout out to my camera guy, because while we were in the car, we were close enough to Boston Pizza. This brings it back to Brad Tree Living, whose dad owns that. We ordered Boston Pizza and some pop and had to sit in the car and eat pizza just stuck there. And I'm telling you, it was the only thing that saved me from full on laying on my horn, which I've never done because we were just sitting there for hours. So How do you guys?
So you didn't have road rage against somebody specifically. You were just road rage about the traffic.
The traffic, which I still don't know, like why nothing was moving the entire time. But pizza made me way more happy. But like, how do you deal with just that frustration of being stuck in traffic? Anybody.
So wait, you got out of the car. There's a Boston Pizza on Front Street, so the traffic wasn't moving.
So far back. We were sitting. We ordered it. That's how long we were sitting in traffic. The camera guy hops out of the car. He goes to Boston Pizza, gets the za, comes back. Also picked me up a pop because I do love myself a nice cold pop. And I had at least 2 slices. I could have had at least 3 boxes of pizza because it still took me another 45 minutes.
That's wild.
Like,
I mean, that's a veteran move. Like. Great moves strategically to
I just needed to
subside some of your rage with some food. But like a veteran move to like recognize like, oh, there's some food close by. Let's get some food because we're not moving, and satiate yourself that way. Did you ever find out what the hell was going? Was it just construction? Or like what the hell was going on downtown?
To be honest,
the Jays game getting out at the same time.
Downtown Toronto.
So it was downtown Toronto. The Jays game was already out for a while, but I know part of the issue in downtown Toronto, Cab, is they've made a lot of these lanes bike lanes, or now they're strictly like public transit lanes. And then
the red ones,
the red lanes, which now
the street for the streetcars.
Son of a bee sting! I'm going to lose my mind during FIFA, but it'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Get yourself some pizza.
Just take some deep breaths. Put on some calming music. Because it's when you get into that situation, there's nothing that's going to stop the blood pressure from rising. So I don't have any advice for you, Lindsay.
I guess thank you, Papa Tree Living. But tomorrow, guys, we have a banger of a show. We are going World Cup extravaganza because Team Canada will be announcing the roster tomorrow night. We're going to hear from some potential Team Canada members.
Yes, Jonathan Osorio could be on the show tomorrow.
I don't know. Cabbie's going to be on the show tomorrow, and I can't wait to hear about his footy skills. But hold that thought. Don't you tell us, because I'm sure it's awesome. Thank you for joining us for Off the Roster. We'll see you tomorrow. Football. If you want more Off the Roster content, make sure to like and hype this video and to subscribe to the Off the Roster YouTube channel.